Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Power Block, episode 199. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deere. Again, alongside me, as always, is that retro code, Eddie V.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom HD needs to happen, Capcom. Give it to us. We need it on our Switch. Hello, everybody.
And by we, Ed means he.
Me. Pretty much, yes.
I mean, you and Jesse already got Sunset Riders. Do we really need anything else?
Yes.
But joining us for the first time, and not the last time, is from Another Zelda Podcast, blogs and site and editor over there. We have Celeste Roberts. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled. I love Zelda, and because of that, I think it would make sense that I also love Nintendo in general.
Yeah, those two usually go hand in hand pretty well.
Yes.
But Celeste, we kind of met for the first time last night during the PlayStation 5 reveal, and Ed and I loved your passion and your chemistry with us, and we've kind of offered you a third chair on this show. So we are very happy to have you. We are thrilled that you are going to stick around, you know. So I'm happy, Ed's happy. We are thrilled to have you here on Nintendo Power Block, just in time for the big 200 celebration next week, actually.
I'm very honored. I just learned about you guys actually yesterday when Megan reached out to me, so I started listening to your episodes as much as I could, and then interacting with you for the PlayStation 5 reveal. I love the camaraderie. It's fun. This is laid back. It's a great distraction from everybody's problems in the world. Video games are games. They're meant to be fun.
Yes, that's true. No, I don't think anybody has ever said it better. Video games are fun. So, but yeah, we're happy to have you. You're, I just, you know, Ed and I last night, we were talking after we were recording. We were like, she's awesome. We need to have her just all the time. So we are happy. We are happy you're here.
I'm very flattered. I enjoy it. You guys have so much knowledge. I'm eager to learn from you guys too. Ed and I were talking before the show, and he was telling me just so many things I didn't think about with video games. It helped me think more critically and deeper aspects, and I love that because they are an art form as well, in addition to being fun, whichever direction you want to take it.
Yeah. So why don't you tell people what you have done before being on the show? What are you doing over at Another Zelda Podcast? What do you do? What are you contributing there? And so people can follow you, because, you know, now that you're going to kind of be around us, I think it's important that your other work should not be ignored. So.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I love collaborating. I think people do well when they share, and why not let the creativity just spread around? So with Another Zelda Podcast, I'm the blog editor, and I'm also a contributing writer, along with Shane, Mallory, Ryan, and Carlos over there. And David Geisler is one of the co-hosts. Kate May is one of the co-hosts. She's on hiatus right now, so we're trying to help David fill in episodes wherever we can. I found out about Another Zelda Podcast about 2017 when I was just looking up video game podcasts. I started just reaching out to David and expressing how much I enjoyed different episodes, and the rest is history. So don't be shy with people's work. If you really admire somebody's work, please let them know. They spend so much time on it, and I know it's appreciated. I'm sure you guys appreciate it whenever people reach out to you and tell you how much they love your content and your hard work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. It's always you know, in the moment, we kind of, you know, don't really think about it all that often, but, you know, when we're not recording, and you go on Twitter and you see somebody, you know, like something or retweet something, or just kind of send you a DM or a tweet that says, hey, we're enjoying your show, or this is a fun episode. You know, Ed, your Delvin Cox episode of 1v1 got retweeted something like 25 times today.
Wow.
It was awesome to see that, because, you know, Delvin is a great podcaster, and I would love to do more with him, obviously. But if you haven't checked out that 1v1 episode, you definitely should. The 1v1 episodes, which don't worry, Celeste, you're not getting out of this one. You're going to be on an episode of that.
Oh gosh.
But it goes up on the Boss Rush podcast feed every Friday. So we try to interview a different creator or writer, or we had a musician on a couple weeks ago. We're having a composer on, right, Ed? Sunday, you and
Yes.
Carl are doing that. So we try to get people who are in the creative space to get their work out there, because we've had so many people help us over the years get our stuff out there, and it's kind of like we're interested in what people are doing, but also kind of a way to provide them with a place to get their stuff out there too. So but yeah, Celeste, we are happy to have you on the show. I'm very interested to hear your opinions on our Zelda conversation today. Ed, I knew we were putting a pin in this topic for a reason.
Oh, yes.
And this seems to be the right time to pull that reason out of the hat. So
it is.
With his certified Zelda expert.
Oh gosh,
so-
that's a mighty order. Right
By the way, everybody, if you want to get really deep into some Zelda lore, you should go check out the Link's Houses Over the Years article that she wrote. It's very interesting and kind of fascinating, to be 100% honest. I was like, wow, this is some deep stuff. This is like me when this is like me when I talk to Ed about Destiny lore, and he just kind of looks at me like,
Lace? Huh?
fries, nap, other games, please.
I think Link deserves some toilets in his house, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but again, Celeste, thank you for joining us. We are very honored and happy to have you here. But we're going to get into some housekeeping and obviously our giveaway details and stuff. This is Nintendo Power Block. Each week, Ed and I come together with our friends from around the internet live right here at Boss Rush Games on Twitch and Mixer to talk about the latest news, rumors, releases, and your questions. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and podcast services every Saturday morning. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast service or on YouTube or wherever you listen to our stuff. You can check out all of our content on BossRushGames.com. Episode 200 next week.
Yes.
We are giving away a Nintendo Switch Lite for episode 200. Get your entries in. You have 1 week left because we are giving it away during our live show on Thursday next week. So just to update you on details, it is also in the description of the show on YouTube and our podcast feed. Episode 200 giveaway entries are now being accepted during episode 200 live on Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube. We are giving away a Turquoise Nintendo Switch Lite, a 256 gigabyte memory card, and two $50 eShop gift cards. If you want to win this bundle, you must enter the contest by following the rules below. Each process will count as one entry, giving you up to 3 chances to win. Send a screenshot of each of the following: an audio podcast subscription on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to the podcast, a YouTube channel subscription, and follow us on Mixer or Twitch. A screenshot of each of those will grant you 1 entry. Now, sending us a screenshot of your rating and review on Apple Podcasts or podcast service of choice will grant you a 2nd entry. And for your 3rd entry, you can follow and tweet at Powblock Podcast, at I am Corey NHD, and at that retro code why you listen to the show, with a screenshot of where you listen with the hashtag Powblock200. We're not making this easy, but these rules are, if you just take a couple minutes to do this, your entries will be entered and it'll be a good time. One of you will win a Nintendo Switch bundle. Very excited to give that away next week, Ed. Very exciting. I know, especially in a time like this, people are looking for entertainment. Switches are very hard to find right now.
Yes.
So we just thought, episode 200, it's our way of saying thanks and helping somebody find that entertainment. that they, we kind of so desperately need to take our mind off of not only the COVID stuff, but the protests and the riots and stuff. Not that we should turn a blind eye to that, but sometimes you need to have a distraction once in a while from things that are happening. And so this is kind of our way of saying thank you and helping people do that. So,
yes.
Also, one last thing before we get into the news bits here. I encourage people to go watch our Black Lives Matter panel that Ed hosted with Twitch streamer Zombie Kills, along with Cam Hawkins from DualShockers, Carl MF, our YouTuber that recently joined us, and Tiffany Witcher, voice actress. So I would encourage you to go listen to that. And having that episode and having you guys trying to find the positives in what's happening in kind of like a dark time was very encouraging. I actually re-listened to the episode today at work, just because, Ed, you and I have been podcasting for a long time. You in particular are very important to me. And every time something like this happens, me personally, up until recently, have kind of been like another one of those people that are like, oh man, this has to stop. And then a week or two later, just kind of forgets about it, and kind of go about my life kind of like nothing is happening. And this last time seeing, we've met so many people over the years, and we have a pretty big Black community and within our community, and seeing not only our friends but our peers and our colleagues really taking this really hard, and it being really hard to watch, and it's not really my place to say anything like that. I mean, I do, right? Like, I think this sucks. I think, it sucks that we have to remind people that Black Lives Matter, right? But we seem to have to do that in 2020. So I just encourage people to go listen to that. And it was a very uplifting and very thought-provoking episode. And I am glad that I was able to produce that show and have you guys have the floor. And it was very awesome. So thank you, Ed, again, for hosting that. That was, a really fun thing to do. So, yeah, anyways.
Yes.
Sorry, got kind of serious there, but we're not here to be serious. We're here to talk about video games. So let's get into the news.
Yes.
This game, Gods and Monsters. Celeste, I know you're a huge Zelda fan. I'm going to let you know this game is going to be right up your alley.
It looks beautiful. The grass alone, I just feel like I'm in Hateno Village.
Yeah. This Gods and Monsters strikes a similarity to Breath of the Wild, as we knew from that E3 showing last year. This game is coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, but Switch owners are also getting their taste of this game. I'm actually quite excited to see how this game compares on each of the consoles, but definitely a huge looks like Zelda inspiration. Obviously, it's the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team making this game, so it'll be an expansive open world. And what I really like about this game is that it's very colorful. It's very deep rooted in mythology, and just the character designs and the monster designs are very cool from what we've seen. I'm very excited for this game. This was at E3 2019. This was probably in my top 5 games that I was looking forward to for the future. And we were actually supposed to already have it. It was supposed to come out in February. But when The Division didn't perform well and Ghost Recon didn't perform well, Ubisoft decided to delay 5 games to make them better. And this was one of them. And I am quite happy that they did, because, I would love to play this on Switch. I will probably play it on Switch because it's where I can actually have the time to play it. But what do you guys think of this? The Google Stadia version of this game actually leaked due to a bug error in the Stadia app. So we actually get to see some gameplay footage here. What did you guys think of this?
Oh, it's beautiful. I love mythology. I want to know which gods, goddesses, and creatures they're going to include, or which ones they might create themselves, some unique ones, some original pieces.
Yeah, it's Ed. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know we've had multiple conversations on this before.
I kind of wonder. I was looking at it, and I kind of wonder. I'm like, is this going to be Zelda and Kid Icarus together?
Ah, I can see that.
I mean, we did say, like, what if they just give you a Kid Icarus? What if they give you a Pit armor set if you have the amiibo? Like, you just scan it in and you're like, oh man, I'm Pit now. Because Ubisoft does do a lot with Nintendo in terms of unique content, right? Starlink had that whole Star Fox campaign exclusive to the Switch version. They did Mario plus Rabbids, which was a fantastic strategy game. Regardless of how your feelings are about the Rabbids, it was a fantastic strategy game. So Ubisoft's no stranger to providing unique things to Nintendo versions.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get different weapons, different areas. I think we'll have some fake gods also.
Yeah,
just to throw in and mix it up, and those gods would give them power. Like if you free something for that god, is in return. I think there's going to be a lot of side quests. One thing I do hope, I hope they don't have towers. I just hope that the whole map is just unlocked and you can go anywhere you want to.
And I have bad news for you. This is an open world Ubisoft game. There's going to be towers.
Yeah, but I can't wait to see more of it. I think it's good that they did delay and that it didn't come out in February, because we only got that one trailer at E3 and nothing else.
Yeah.
So that's not a good way to market a game.
Yeah.
And put it out there, because people who don't know nothing about it, they don't trust. That just guarantees you low sales for it. Now, Anthem is a different story, but it is what it is with that game. And I think it's gonna be big across all three platforms, but I think Switch is gonna be the way to play it, to see those comparisons. Definitely when Breath of the Wild 2, if Breath of the Wild 2 come out right after this game comes out, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm interested. I can't wait for more info to come out about this game.
Yeah, for sure. I love the design. I love the art direction. I'm a kind of in terms of third party stuff, I'm a pretty big Ubisoft fan in general. Love Assassin's Creed. Loved The Division. Although I did not spend a lot of time with the second one, I do love that first game. Ghost Recon is, I'm waiting for that big patch to drop before I start that game, because they're changing the entire game. But previous Ghost Recons I really liked. So, and then the stuff they provided for Switch in particular, I've loved. So, as a big Ubisoft fan, I am looking forward to seeing how they kind of approach the Zelda-esque formula. So,
I've been wondering, should I go to return back to Breakpoint and just finish it?
I mean, maybe we can discuss that later. Breakpoint is yeah,
It's interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a nice word for that. So,
yes.
Any final thoughts, Celeste?
I wonder whether your weapons are going to break.
Oh, please no. That's like,
no, please.
That's like the one thing about Breath of the Wild that I'm like, okay, if you're going to have a breakable weapon system, at least let me have the option to gather resources to repair it or make it stronger.
You've been playing Animal Crossing, haven't you? To build your own.
Honestly, I have not been playing Animal Crossing. Just to stay on the Zelda track, the topic later, I'm bringing up breakable weapons, and I think if they build on that breakable weapons thing, if you could craft weapons or gather items to craft new weapons out of old weapons and make them stronger to a point where these weapons can't break because they have their own kind of build up to them. Like I think that would be a really smart addition to the game if they're going to keep the breakable weapons, because I don't think the Master Sword is going to be part. Okay, we'll save that. We're going to save this conversation because
I got something for that.
I'm already I'm already head deep into this conversation. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about Zelda. I want to get through the news so we can talk about Zelda.
Let's get to the next story.
Okay. All right. Hey, Antonio's in the chat. Welcome. Love Antonio.
Yes.
Love that man to death. Recently had a baby a couple months ago, so congratulations to him.
Congratulations.
Hope your baby girl's doing good, Antonio.
Yes, I hope everybody is safe, happy, and healthy over there. So, our next story, the Pokemon Company pledges a minimum of $5 million for charity. This was actually updated to include Niantic into this. They're each donating $5 million. A statement from the Pokemon Company says that following Pokemon Go Fest 2020, the Pokemon Company Group is joining its partners at Niantic and will also be donating a minimum of $5 million to nonprofit organizations around the world. The Pokemon Company Group donations will go towards improving the lives of children with a focus on diversity, equality, and inclusion. In our ongoing commitment to the Black community, this will include organizations supporting education and mentorship opportunities for Black children. So, very, very nice sentiment from the Pokemon Company. $5 million is nothing to sneeze at.
Yes.
So I thought, Microsoft donating $2 million was a nice chunk of change. I mean, I know it's Microsoft, and they probably wipe their butts with $100 bills in their offices, but you know what I mean. Like, I think I'm just kind of seeing companies like this reaching out to kind of try to change the world, and because they are in positions where they can do so, executives and higher ups in these big companies finally having a voice in this too is important. I mean, we try to use our platform to our motto obviously is play games, be better, right? And we try to strive to be that way, but clearly we are nowhere on the level of a Pokemon Company, so this was really nice to see.
Yeah, same thing. It's really nice.
Yeah,
I hope it's a continuing
yes.
donation throughout the years, not just right now. I want this, especially the mentorship. That is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That can change lives.
Yeah. So, all right, our last kind of news story here: Paper Mario and the Origami King combat and companions have been detailed. So, Nintendo has shared a brand new trailer for the upcoming Paper Mario The Origami King, set to launch on Switch next month. It gives a closer look at some of the characters and exciting discoveries we'll come across when we get stuck in for ourselves. It's a little lengthier than your average trailer, at almost 6 minutes, but you'll want to watch it in its entirety if you're thinking about picking up the game. We've also got more details and info. So King Ollie is one of the characters. King Ollie has moved Peach's castle. This is a quote from the description of the trailer. King Ollie has moved Peach's castle in his devious plot to fold the world. Luckily, Mario's ability to wield mighty paper techniques will put a crinkle in those plans. Mario's journey to untie the massive streamers binding the castle will lead him through vast regions full of surprises. He'll visit underground sewers, raging rapids, an ancient ruin, a ninja-filled mansion, and lively desert oasis that will quench anyone's thirst for excitement. The cast of off-the-wall characters adds an extra dimension to the expedition too. Nintendo's writers are so on the point. By the way, there's a Bob-omb who's lost his memory, a Toad professor of ancient history, a Kamek, a Magikoopa who's always got something up his sleeve. Mario will find assistance along the way from friends like Olivia, the good-natured sister of King Ollie, and even Bowser himself. Some of these unlikely allies might help out in a battle when needed. So, did you guys watch this trailer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a return to form for sure.
Yeah, it's like I just watching the fresh trailer. I'm like, oh, this is a day one purchase. Like, I already got my $60 ready to go for this.
Yes, just gonna throw my money at them.
Yeah, I love the art style of this game. I people have been kind of ragging on Paper Mario for a while, right? Since probably I think the GameCube version is the last version that people kind of hold in high regards. The RPG, the Mario RPG series kind of went towards Mario and Luigi, and Paper Mario kind of became its own thing with the Wii version of Super Paper Mario, and then Sticker Star on 3DS and onward. But people miss the RPG stuff, and this seems to be returning to those roots a little bit. So I'm excited for that, because I think Paper Mario, though maybe it's not one of Nintendo's best, highest praised franchises, I think it is important in terms of, it's changing things up, right? We see Mario all the time, and it's been a long time since we see Mario in a different art style, right? Since N64, he's kind of looked the same. I miss the, you look at Mario 1, 2, and 3 on NES, Mario's sprite changes in every game. He looks different in every game. You get the Mario World on Super Nintendo and Yoshi's Island, he looks different. You go to the Mario and Luigi RPG games, he looks different, which I love the Mario and Luigi art style, by the way. I would love a 2D Mario game in that art style for sure. Just like the hand-drawn kind of look to it. I love that so much. But, Paper Mario I think is important because it shows a different side of Mario. It shows a different vibe. And, I think this game looks like it could be returning to form for sure. So
I hope the dialogue's just as witty and hilarious.
Oh yeah,
is.
That's the thing about the Paper Mario series. They always been consistent with the comedy and the writing.
Yeah. And like the writing in the Mario and Luigi games is so good, and I know that the Treehouse team that usually does that translating is doing this in particular. So I'm excited to see the writing in this game as well. But that's kind of all the news that we have to talk about. We have a very interesting topic, a timely topic. So a couple months ago, Ed and I talked about a Breath of the Wild's Zelda series be a trilogy. Will this darker tone be the Empire Strikes Back to this trilogy? Will it be the dark, ominous sequel that Majora's Mask kind of was to Ocarina of Time? And Celeste, I'm actually very interested to hear what you think about this. So here's kind of the setup, right? Breath of the Wild was kind of bright colored, whimsical, darker tones towards fighting the enemies and stuff, but overall pretty bright and colorful game. The trailer to this game looks pretty dark. It looks like we're going to explore the underground. Looks like we're gonna, I don't know, fight some darker enemies and kind of explore some different themes. Obviously, I think in terms of the gameplay and stuff, I think Zelda, it's going to have like a light party system, and Zelda is going to be a party member. I think you're going to be able to switch back and forth to solve new shrine puzzles, because adding an extra character, I think adding an extra character provides a different type of shrine that you can solve, right? Like maybe Zelda stands on this block while it opens a door, and Link has to pull a lever to open the door to let her in, or you know what I mean? Like you can swap between them to solve puzzles, and maybe even add a little co-op, dare I say, at some point, if you like optional co-op. So I would actually really love to finally play as Zelda. A lot of people think you're going to, because her hair is braided and shorter, which is in terms of gameplay and mechanics, usually points to a female protagonist being playable. If her hair isn't down, it's up. A lot of people point to Lara Croft as her hair's in a ponytail, right? Like it's there's less clipping when a female's hair is up or short or whatever, so it allows for an interesting thought to actually have Zelda be playable for the first time. She looks like she's ready to go for battle in that trailer. I think that this is going to be a middle part of a trilogy, and Zelda's story is going to be far more important in this, because I think the first story was about Link and reviving Link and saving Hyrule as Link, and the end of Breath of the Wild. Sorry, Ed, I'm not going to spoil it since you haven't finished it.
That's true.
But the way that ends, things happen, and Zelda is ready for an adventure. And I think that's another arrow pointing to this being Zelda's story. I think each part of this quote unquote trilogy I'm making up in my head is going to be about each holder of the Triforce. The first game is about Link. I think the second game is actually going to be about Ganon, and the third game is going to be Zelda's kind of coming out party as like, I'm finally the hero. I'm going to save Hyrule. Obviously, Link is going to help her, but I think that's going to be this trilogy. And the next trilogy is going to be, or the sequel, I think, is going to be dark. I think it's going to maybe not kill off an important character, maybe not kill off Link, but like something's going to happen. Something obviously happens in that trailer that we don't know. I think we're going to explore different realms. I think,
I don't even think it's that. I think we're going to get back to the first Legend of Zelda, where all 7 pieces made the Triforce instead of 3.
Yeah, and that's where because like, I think the as much as I love Breath of the Wild, the one thing I think it was missing are those classic Zelda dungeons, right? And I know that exploring Hyrule was like the big focus of the game, and you could go any direction you wanted. You could take on the divine beast any way you wanted to, which you can still design the dungeons to be that way. You can play any of them in whatever order you really want to, but I miss those classic Zelda dungeons, right? I think like Twilight Princess, I think, is a good example. I think that Twilight Princess has, regardless of its intro issues that people have with it, which I don't really have any issues with it, and kind of the filler kind of missions that you do in between the dungeons, I think the dungeons in Twilight Princess are the best in the series. So they're unique, they're fun, they require you to actually think about certain things, especially the later dungeons. I miss that in Breath of the Wild. I think we're going to see a return to that. And Ed, like you said, I think every dungeon you complete, you get a piece of the Triforce, and you use the Triforce to defeat this new foe, or this dark Ganon, or whoever this zombified enemy looks like in the trailer. Or maybe you do that, and that's actually bad. You're actually restoring this bad enemy, and then you have to figure out how to maybe destroy the Triforce in the third game, because that's the only way to defeat this enemy. And to me, this is where the third game comes in. You go to like this, maybe like a far off land that's not Hyrule, to get the ability to destroy the pieces of the Triforce. And as you destroy them, yeah, maybe Link gets weaker, but so does Ganon or whoever this enemy is. And Link has to, this is where like the multiple Links come in, right? Where like this Link has to sacrifice himself to save Hyrule and take Ganon out. So,
a much darker, a much more somber outlook. Wow.
Yeah. I think about this quite often.
Have you written about this? Because you should, if you have not.
I haven't written about it. I have notes about it. I haven't like really written like a like a game doc or like a story outline for it or anything. Like I haven't gotten that far, but I think that I think that Zelda is going to play a very important role, and I think Link's role in this next game or this trilogy of games is going to be, I'm the guardian of Zelda. I must protect Zelda at all costs, even if it means sacrificing my own life. And I mean, that's also something very different for Nintendo, right? Nintendo doesn't really, as much as I love Nintendo, they don't really have deep, really upfront storytelling mechanics. Most of their story is told in the background or through, like in Breath of the Wild, it was the memories and stuff, or in Twilight Princess, it was kind of through the children and the village, right? Like it's more.
You explore to find what the story is.
Exactly.
Yeah, like in Majora's Mask, sorrow has already happened. These people have already passed away. I mean, Macaw, you do see him, the Zora, when he's passing. He's dying, but you get their essences. So I would like to see something more direct. I want something that's going to hit me where it hurts. Make me cry.
Especially because we've grown up with these characters for, a better part of 3 decades, right? Like, and I know, like, okay, yeah, they're different characters each time, right? But, like, Zelda is still Zelda and Link is still Link, and these are characters that you grow up loving and really feeling passionate about, right? Like, I love Zelda to death, and I have been making it a point to revisit the games that I have not finished, because I love the franchise so much, and I want to show those early games the respect that they deserve. But, like, telling a real story that is going to hit emotional beats, even if they're darker, is something that Nintendo has not really done before. Like Skyward Sword, for example, they were telling a really interesting story in that game, but it was an upbeat story about friendship and hope, and I think if they went the other direction, it would be a very interesting turn for Nintendo to do that.
Well, the thing about it is that how do you make a game that's Nintendo but not Studio Ghibli? Because Breath of the Wild has that approach to it. Within just like the music, the graphics, the style, the feel, is very Japanese in it. And Studio Ghibli is grounded in that with their animation and the stories that they tell. So when you look at Breath of the Wild 2, the trailer, you see kind of the Princess Mononoke with the black stuff taking part of the arm. So we know that curse is going to be playing a part in this, and whoever gets cursed, which is I feel like it's probably going to be Zelda, Link has to find a way to cure that curse, and it might be the Triforce. The thing about it is that it might be that even though the Triforce might heal her, that means the Triforce has to be cursed, and now you're on a journey to find you're on a journey to get the materials to make a new Triforce, and you gotta find the smith, blacksmith, who made the regular Triforce, so that this black Triforce and Triforce could be destroyed. You got this new Triforce,
and in order to destroy the cursed Triforce, there's a way to kind of weave Link's kind of self-sacrifice into destroying that, I think, because he's like the epitome of what selflessness is, and I think that has to play into that type of story. But also, like, how do you incorporate the Master Sword in it? Because, like, the Master Sword is the all-powerful sword, right? Like the Master Sword is the kind of like, this is the weapon that you aim to get. But if you don't have the source to have the Master Sword be the all-powerful sword, where do you go from there? And my thought, Ed, I brought this up to you a couple months ago, the white sword from the very first game, that maybe that's the weapon that you're searching for, and that's the weapon that can destroy the cursed Triforce, but the wielder becomes very vulnerable when you use it.
And a lot of people will say, well, there's the light arrows. Yes, there is the light arrows, but the light arrows don't have power until Zelda has it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Link needs something. If the Master Sword is destroyed, then the right sword may be the purifying sword.
Mm-hmm.
And Link and Zelda needs each other's weapons and teamwork to stop this Ganon.
Mm-hmm.
Not defeat him, to stop him. Because I really feel like if we're gonna go into 3, Ganon has to win.
Yeah.
In some form and faction. And it does. Oh,
I was gonna say, I think like you were saying, like the Triforce exists because all 3 of them exist, right? Like they all 3 are holders of a piece of the Triforce, and I think if the Triforce is to be destroyed, it's going to at least destroy the ones who hold it, right? Like I think that they are all connected because of the Triforce and the pieces that they hold.
And even though we're talking about those 3 characters, we need the champions. Because now, yes, even though the champions are gone and stuff and helping, the new champions now have to be found. They have to come and prove themselves to be the new ones that's going to help Zelda and Link. And it really depends on how Nintendo wants to go about this. This is the thing, and this is kind of a side tangent, so forgive me. This is the thing about Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon 2 Forbidden West and Breath of the Wild 2. This is what makes them different. The developers on how they approach, yes, open world games, but how they approach narrative. Guerrilla is American company, I think, or is it UK?
They're Swedish, I think.
Swedish. Okay, so if you look at go watch our PlayStation 5 reveal and our reactions. If you look at the art style of that, it doesn't have no Japanese influence to it. It has more of...
It's definitely a Western take.
Aesthetic, yes. And the Japanese look of Breath of the Wild, it has a cultural and historic kind of thing, kind of look and everything. So they're each going to be telling different stories on how they approach it. And the reason why I brought Horizon 2 up is because everybody's going to be trying to make that comparison once again. And if you're not rooted to Japanese culture and rooted into how they tell stories in movies and the historics of mythical things in there, you wouldn't understand what Breath of the Wild may have. So there's going to probably be more mystical and mythic things that, maybe it's going to be a raccoon or a fox or some kind of spirit animal that really plays a part in this journey, compared to where Horizon is about robots and giving civilization back and stuff. If Japanese was going to do it, they're going to do something like Snatcher, or their take on what is that one with Harrison Ford?
Indiana Jones?
No, he played the detective, and he was fighting the robots who were trying to be humanoid.
You're Star Wars robots. There's robots in Star Wars. He's in Star Wars.
No. There was a part 2 to it that came out.
Oh, jeez. I don't know.
Well, the sheep that dream of dreams of an electric sheep. It was based off that book that made that movie.
Oh, okay. Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blade Runner, Ed.
The way that each of them go about that and stuff. So I think Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna continue that Japanese aesthetic and mythic thing and tell the way on how everything is gonna reveal. I think Studio Ghibli is going to be the inspiration. I think Monolith Soft is really going to put in some designs. I think
Mhm.
they're creating something more with Anuma because, like they said, there were so many ideas that could have been DLC for this game that they just made the second game. So
Yeah.
Monolith Soft is building a bigger world, and that they have the talent. Just with Xenoblade Chronicles X, now with Xenoblade Definitive Edition, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and whatever new game that they're planning and working on. Monolith Soft knows how we have a world we could build upon it. What you thought was there, what you didn't think was there, is more that you're going to see. Yes, time will play a part in it, but maybe there was a room in something for a civilization before the 100 years.
Mhm.
That
Oh, sorry.
okay.
Continue, because I have something that I
Oh,
want to ask you.
oh, before the 100 years, that they had to hide so that Ganon couldn't find out.
Hmm.
And now the 100 years has passed. Time has passed some more, and one of the robots that's in the game, kind of like was just mosing around, may have had hit a switch, and now things are uprising. That's adding more to the world.
Oh.
I have a question about that. You think that at the end of this game they fail because of the uprising and Ganon's kind of re-rise to power with the guardians and like you said, some of the mechanical beings and
Mm.
stuff, that at the and like maybe I don't want to say Zelda is killed, because I feel like Zelda is going to be like such an integral part of this game's gameplay mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
which actually, now that I think about my question to you, it actually doesn't even matter. But do you think that Zelda, they try to do this mission, right, to stop Ganon, and they fail, and Zelda might be killed at the end of the second game, and Ganon rises, and the champions and Link feel like they fail, and that's, maybe the end cutscene or something, is they find the Ocarina of Time, and they learn time travel, and Link has to go back in time to try to fix what they failed at in the third
No,
game.
no. Zelda becomes
That's what I think.
Zelda becomes the slave to Ganon.
No, they're not going to do that.
Hold on, hear me out.
Do you know what time we live in? They're not introducing that at all.
This is the thing, because she's got cursed, and before they could try to heal her, the curse completed itself, and now Ganon has control over Zelda.
like
So
the
now,
puppet Zelda from Twilight Princess.
right.
Maybe.
So now the new Guardians and Link have to come and save Zelda, because now that she's like co-captain now, or she's in love or whatever, something happens with Ganon and Zelda. And maybe this is maybe Ganon and her somehow connected together to make Ganondorf. And now, even if Ganon is destroyed and put to sleep, Ganondorf is they rescue Zelda, they get her back. Let's say for the 30, they get her back, but it ends with Ganondorf. A baby Ganondorf is crying. Someone comes and gets it, and it ends right there.
So
Because those because there are multiple enemies, or there are multiple things in the Zelda universe from different games that have been the main boss that isn't Ganon.
yeah, yeah. Are you? So you're insinuating that?
So now I'm insinuating the Dark World comes now into play from Link to the Past.
But wait. Oh, what captured my attention? Baby Ganondorf. Do you mean that he's not born from a Gerudo? That he's born.
He's born from Zelda.
Wow. So that's putting a twist in the mythology of the Gerudo, because usually he's
Or
born.
what they could do is they have like a I don't know. This is something I don't think Nintendo is like. I don't want to say capable of doing, but like they like the followers of Ganon, like maybe Ganon is dead and you're fighting this new kind of enemy, or maybe like a follower of Ganon or something maybe is on the rise, and this zombified version is Ganon resurrected for the third game. But also I think maybe they could take the essence of Ganon and place it and kind of like have a Gerudo like impregnate one of them with the essence of Ganon, and like maybe they have the baby that way type thing, or you know what I mean. Like I think maybe that would be a interesting way to go about it too, but I think that's a little too dark for Nintendo.
Well, because I think you want to have the trilogy, you want to end it on a high note, but I think this deserves the twist.
Yeah,
this twist can now lead to what happens next in the Zelda franchise. Does this lead to another timeline? Does this lead into another enemy? Are we now dealing with 3 Ganons that we didn't know about? Ganon, Ganondorf, and
or
Ganesh.
The first form of Ganon that's introduced in Skyward Sword.
Demise.
Yeah, Demise. Maybe this is, you know, you fight Ganon in the first game. Maybe Ganondorf is in the second game trying to revive Demise.
I have heard that theory.
Why we don't get a female Ganondorf?
Because Nintendo's not going to change that, unfortunately. I mean, I wouldn't say no to that at all, but you know, I think, you know, I think that maybe Ganondorf has the essence of Ganon in him, and he is trying to resurrect Demise in some way, or become Demise in some way.
Selling his soul.
But Celeste, what do you envision the trilogy? Like, from what you know of 2 with the trailer, from clips and stuff, what is your mind envisioning? Even if it's not, just to say, we don't know anything that's going to happen after. But the clips that you're seeing, where is your mind leading to? Because what could happen in the second, and what would lead it into the third?
So I swear this is not a shameless plug. It really got me thinking. But Shane Kelly, one of the blog writers, his recent article was, what if Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf got one of the other's pieces of Triforce? What if Zelda got courage? What if Link got power? What if Ganondorf got wisdom? So I wonder if that could be a possibility in a trilogy where they change the dynamic. Is that I don't know.
Well, it's hard because it's built in. Their original ones are built into it because of their hand.
Yeah, but I mean, they could in this new kind of set of Zelda games. They haven't really specifically said which piece of the Triforce they all have yet. I mean, you can kind of assume, and you know, I guess they do kind of address that Zelda has wisdom.
I would say, okay, so let's say, Corey, let's take your Ocarina of Time, the part where Link goes in and he puts the sword and he travels to a different time. What if the castle what if they find a hidden dungeon, hidden castle that has it was supposed to be time, but somehow it got corrupted, where instead of time travel, it transitions their powers. What if only way that Ganondorf get wisdom and everything is that they go in, they kind of they step on something, it activates. You got to get 3 pieces because it's Nintendo. You know, they always do stuff in 3. So you got to go find these 3 pieces to activate it. And you get it activated, and just suddenly all the red stuff starts coming out. And then the red stuff grabs Zelda's hands. It grabs Link's hand. Ganon somehow is resurrected or shows up. And the red stuff on him. That red stuff touches the, let's say, white glow for the travel thing, and it travels there. Instead of them time traveling, it travels their Triforce to different hands. So he does get wisdom, but Link gets, like you said, courage. No, Zelda gets courage.
Zelda gets courage, and Link gets power.
And Link gets
That's just
power.
one scenario. I mean,
Yeah.
Change about.
And see, now because he has wisdom, instead he tries to get both of them so he can have all three, but the champions or someone interferes, even though they're still connected. And instead of him getting all three, it just switches.
Maybe one of the champions like sacrifices themselves, or like, makes it out of, like, maybe they're captured or something, and maybe a champion makes it out to stop the ritual that Ganon's trying to perform. Maybe it's like this big kind of cutscene that you watch, and they are all connected because Ganon's trying to perform this ritual, and Ganon's trying to take the other two, but when the ritual is interrupted, they all kind of switch powers. Be interesting.
I want to know Ganon's more motivation in the Breath of the Wild series. Is he just purely evil? In Wind Waker, they did a beautiful job illustrating how much he craved that wind and that peace, that serenity, and you kind of feel a little bad for him.
Yeah, I think a sympathetic villain is a great way to kind of, am I making the right decision? You actually have to think about it. Now, obviously, everybody kind of associates Ganon as the villain, but what if he's, what if he isn't the real villain? What if Zelda and Ganon have the same, like, they want to accomplish the same goal, but they're going about it in a different way, and there's really a third entity out there that's kind of the true villain. And maybe Ganon wants to use force and power, and Zelda wants to accomplish it maybe in a more civil, diplomatic way, and maybe more strategic with her military type thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe there's.
I would say that Ganondorf or Ganon is trying to become human.
He wants to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because Ganon is a pig.
Yeah.
The design of him in the original Legend of Zelda, I believe it's Ganon. Yeah, Ganon is a pig in the first original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, but in this game, he's not really, though. I mean, I guess the final form is, but.
But what I'm trying to say is that he's trying to get rid of that form completely and actually be human.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he has an internal struggle with his.
Right.
Yeah.
He covets something so badly.
Mm-hmm. And now that he got wisdom, he now knows what he needs to do in order to become human, and that's to get rid of Zelda and Link. And get that power. Maybe the Triforce transforms him into a human.
Maybe he's trying to get all three pieces of the Triforce to, use all three pieces to become that, and he needs Link and Zelda to do that. And maybe they can do it in a really smart way where he, like,
excuse me,
he's like kind of creating some sort of puzzle for them to kind of be distracted by. Well, I don't know, man. There's a smart way to do it, and
there's something that the king, even though he's not in the game, he kept away from Zelda and Link.
Yeah, but I think even as like the spirit that he is, right? Like, I think there is a way to he can give Zelda the power that she needs to kind of tackle this situation, and maybe that's how this story unfolds too.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe there is a book about Hyrule that has the answers, and now they have to find that particular book because there are books in the Zelda games that we know you use for magic. Maybe that book tells how the Triforce got made, how Ganon was
How
created.
the goddesses are involved.
Yeah, like how everything in Hyrule was built. It was the three goddesses. They wrote this book and gave it to every king of Hyrule, and they told them to keep it safe. And so, maybe maybe it's something that Link and Zelda has to find in order to stop Ganon, in order for him to become human and stop him. Even though they're cursed, maybe that book now has the answers to the curse, and it may be there is another pieces of the Triforce instead of the 3 that you guys know. So now you got to go find those 7 Triforce or more, and this land, these dungeons were placed to protect that Triforce.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the dungeons are there to maybe the dungeons are the castles of the old kings, right? And you have to go in and find the books.
Maybe the old kings each got a book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I kind of wonder if there's just a whole other Hyrule that they're exploring, an old Hyrule. I mean, not exactly the same as Wind Waker, where it's below water, but maybe like an H.P. Lovecraft type world below the castle that they're exploring, like you said, with different secrets.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what that creature is that she's riding to.
Yeah, that kind of elephant type creature, but not really. Yeah. Well, in the trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, like you see the castle kind of sink at the end.
It doesn't sink; it rises.
Does it? I thought it was.
Yep.
It's been a while since I watched it.
It's rising because I think Ganon or whoever is trying to get out because he's buried under. He's buried under the Hyrule Castle.
Yeah. I mean it's true too. So.
Well, the weapon thing I want to address.
Yes.
Before we go on. Okay, so you mentioned like getting materials and stuff to make the weapon stronger. Okay, so Monster Hunter, you kind of do the same thing. You fight different monsters and you get them and you can build a different weapon. Instead of breaking it, you got to. In Monster Hunter, there is a thing that that makes you sharpen your weapon so it could get back to its regular self. What if they offer that while in the middle of the fight, sometimes you have to sharpen your weapon to get it a little bit stronger.
I don't know if it would go that far, but they did explore upgrading your armor with certain, like the like the rubies and stuff that you collected, or monster pieces, or like that kind of stuff. I wonder if they'll explore a way of like, okay, we explored a little bit this way with armor. Maybe we'll advance that, but also kind of apply it to the weapons to where like, okay, if you collect, some sort of metal material, you can make your blade sharper, and maybe your blade just dulls over time instead of the weapon completely breaking, and then you kind of have to keep applying that until you have the materials to upgrade that weapon some more. To maybe you can create weapons that can achieve unbreakable status, like the Master Sword, or what I think is going to be in this game, the White Sword. I still think the White Sword's going to be in this game, and it's like maybe Link already has the Master Sword, right? Maybe it loses its power and you have to build it back up, whatever. But I think if Zelda's going to be a playable character, she's going to get the White Sword. I still think the White Sword is going to be the Master Sword weapon in this game.
I think because of how big Hyrule is, there's hidden towns.
Yeah.
So those hidden towns have a blacksmith, and maybe if you go to them with the correct things or you help them out, it allows you to make certain type of weapons, and each of them can restore the White Sword and the Master Sword. But you got to go on those quests to get stuff.
What are they? Maybe they're like champion weapons, like the champions weapons, and like you are on a quest to find the champions weapons also. And maybe you find little recipes throughout the world, right? Like how many things did you find throughout the world that were like would give you a little quest, but you didn't really know what the quest was until you finished it? Or, you know, how many nooks and crannies did you explore and find something weird or rare or you know, something that you could use that you didn't know existed in that game, you know?
And you still have the little glowing thing where you put your glow at the top of the tower and unlock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The whatever that thing is, maybe that is a key to helping you get the white sword.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key that they probably didn't know was the major key to the Triforce.
Mm-hmm.
And that reaction to be like, we actually have it, and we now got to make sure that Ganon never gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you. That key, you put it in, and it helps the blacksmith unlock stuff so they can power up your sword and armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That
would be so awesome.
Yeah. Also, I want to know what each champion uses as a weapon. Like, I mean, you get the Daruk's kind of club thing. Like, how do you upgrade the club? Maybe you just add spikes to it or something. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how do you? I think it would be really interesting to have unbreakable champion weapons. That's such a cool idea.
And this is the crazy thing now, because even yes, going back to Horizon real quick, you have your set of players for that game. This Breath of the Wild 2 that we now just are creating, making up and stuff. You now have Monster Hunter, you have Dark Souls, you have Minecraft, you have so many games from so many different genres in one that it now multiply the various players who are into games. If you still want to be a speedrunner in this game, you could go ahead and do that. But if you want the best, you're going to grind. You're going to work. That's the Monster Hunter community. Mm-hmm. If you're very strategic in everything, maybe you have some skills with Fire Emblem. Maybe with them using the Unreal Engine, and they may upgrade to 5, and how they play with physics and stuff. Mm-hmm. You may see some people do some crazy stuff and everything, and engineer some things that you would never believe. And maybe if they figure out math and stuff, and that plays a part on how you get your weapons and your armors to do different abilities and stuff like that, you got that whole crowd of people. Like even like Sims people, you have building different houses and you restoring towns and dungeons and communities and stuff. You have like the Sims / Animal Crossing.
I mean, they did play around with that too with Terrytown.
You know, I love Terrytown.
Oh. That quest was so fun.
I loved it.
Yeah, there's so much to build, and knowing that you could still be affected by being unprepared by going in different areas. You don't got your hot stuff to stay warm when you get to the cold area. You have a risk. Maybe there is a certain item that if you get the materials, you could probably put it on your armor and won't need the fire stuff. But you have to risk your life to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe, you know, if you rebuild a town like Terrytown, like you said, maybe they reward you with maybe they are waiting for a protector of the Triforce to come, you know, help them, and maybe they trust you enough to hold on to their piece of Triforce once you do that. You know, it doesn't always have to be a reward from a dungeon. It could be doing some of these, you know, maybe things that you think are side quests, but they're actually like really important to the advancement of the story.
Yeah, let's say you now have forces, you have opponents stuff, but maybe now you have different animals that play a good role. Maybe you have a hawk that could fly up and find you different materials and bring you rubies and stuff like that from different areas. Or check out the thing. A little bit of Assassin's Creed if you think about it, but that hawk might actually do something to help you in Zelda. Maybe you get like a fox or a wolf and stuff, and maybe they share things with you. A groundhog digs under and collects rubies and stuff, brings it back to you, and everything. Like you could use the animals in the world when you help them out and reward them and build a connection with them, a friendship with them.
Yeah. Celeste, do you have anything to add to this?
Oh, I'm overwhelmed because I never even thought about a trilogy for it because I'm so curious where the sequel is going to take us. I don't know if they've ever really had a true Zelda trilogy. Would you say with like Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, do those count as?
It could possibly be. I don't know. Is it this
real trilogy?
I mean, I don't know if there ever really has been, right? Like, I think, let's see, you got Ocarina and Majora. Those are really kind of, and then you have the Oracle games, which are kind of directly linked. And that was supposed to be a trilogy, but it was really only the two games.
Yeah, Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds are together.
Yeah.
So they've had sequels. They've had like spiritual successors, so to speak, but never really a trilogy. So, gosh, do you think if they ever did a trilogy, would that be kind of this is the final Zelda game?
No. Zelda, they have, I think with new people coming into Nintendo, they want to continue that franchise. So they know that if they need to refresh everything or restart everything, those creators will be able to restart it. You know, the techniques in the story and what Nintendo does is going to be passed down. You know, the old guards are not going to be there, so these new people are going to become the new old guards, and they're going to continue to pass it down. Yeah,
and I think you know, Breath of the Wild was such a big departure from Zelda in the way that we knew it. You know, like. I mean, and some people were really happy with it, and some people were honestly kind of disappointed that it went that direction. I thought it was a very smart and good change for the series myself, but you know, if they're going to do a trilogy, I know Nintendo's expressed that they want to use this engine for more than one or two games. They've said that outright. Whether it's, you know, expansion content on one game or, you know, obviously we're getting a sequel that will probably have DLC for it. So I think you can expect more than these two games with this engine. Maybe a different art style with this engine, but definitely this engine to say the least. So I would not put it past them to make a trilogy. In the way that Switch is kind of going, maybe this is known as the Switch trilogy, right? Like maybe, you know, you launch with one, middle of the life cycle you get one, and then maybe the third game is the Switch's swan song, right? I think it not only a trilogy would tell an awesome Zelda story, but it would be an amazing story for the Switch in general to have this kind of unique trilogy of games. And I know the first one came out on Wii U. I'm not disparaging that, but I think a lot of people associate Breath of the Wild with the Switch and the launch of the Switch, and so still have my sealed copy of Breath of the Wild for Wii U, by the way. I'm gonna keep that sealed forever. So
wow. That's the copy I'll play.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Breath of the Wild is that this version of Zelda, it builds upon, it innovates, it changes, and it breaks your expectations and everything. Like, I think this may be the truest open world game ever made.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, Ed, this was like this Zelda is a good foundation to build on. Like this was such a good foundation. Like, look at all the things that we love about this game, and there's still things that they can build upon and make better, which is kind of unbelievable at this point. You know, that this game was so good that they could actually fix some things and make it even better. I don't know. I just to kind of put a bow on this topic, I love Breath of the Wild. I like I was telling you guys last night, I think about this game weekly, if not daily. It's one of the few games that have ever really done that, and honestly, this generation we've gotten 3 games that have done that for me. Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Horizon Zero Dawn being the other two, but Zelda still stands far and away above those games for sure.
there's something about Breath of the Wild that when you get lost in, you still are finding yourself
Hmm.
in a sense, because you're finding yourself seeing something new that you didn't expect. That
Hmm.
if you find it, maybe someone that you talk to still don't know about it because they may be getting a different experience.
Hmm.
We talked about it that people hate it if you spoiled anything
Hmm.
about Breath of the Wild
Hmm.
because everybody was finding different things at different times.
Yeah,
You know.
which is unique because like you can go anywhere, right? You can
Hmm.
in Assassin's Creed is this huge open world game, but honestly, it's pretty linear on where you can go and what you can do because of the leveling system and a lot of places are gated off by you being underpowered to go there, and then you have Horizon, which is it's not the same way, but if it's pretty similar in the fact that if you don't have certain things leveled up in the skill tree, you can't really advance, right? And so
Hmm.
Zelda has created this unique thing that you really didn't see until or since the very first game, to be honest. Where you can
And
go anywhere and accomplish the dungeons however you like in whatever order you wanted to, and yeah, some of them
and
are harder than others, but you could theoretically do it.
and there was only three things that was gating you from going anywhere. You didn't have enough stamina just yet. You didn't have enough hearts, and you wasn't prepared with food and elements to protect you.
Yeah, but you could
Those are the only
find
things.
food to prepare to give yourself
Yeah.
more stamina to climb higher. You
Yes.
could,
Yes.
cook food to give yourself more hearts to fight harder battles.
Right.
Those things exist in the game to help you.
If you go out there, but I'm just saying that those is the only things that was gating you. Like, just saying that, just saying that, just saying that Assassin's Creed and Horizon, they have things to get you so you don't progress in the story
Hmm.
further. You can progress in Zelda at any time. You just got to be prepared to do it. And if you get the stuff that you need, go ahead and do it.
Hmm.
You might get killed. You might still be unprepared, but you worked hard to go get it, and nothing was gating you. But those are the things that's there to gate
Hmm. Yeah.
I love these. This is brilliant. I've really enjoyed hearing your thoughts about a potential trilogy. That would be,
Yeah.
like you said, swan song. It would be beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was literally we didn't think about the trilogy until months after we seen the trailer. Me and Corey just happened to watch the trailer one day and we just got to talking about it. Be like, man, that E3 trailer, and as we just going on, once Corey mentioned a third game, a trilogy, like I said, I fell out and I'm just like, okay, we're expanding this. Where does the story go?
Yeah.
Because now they have the power to do it.
Yeah.
Even if I feel like even if they didn't continue give us a sequel, Breath of the Wild still has something in this world that would be like, there's something about this that we haven't found yet. We might have did everything, but there's some nicks and crannies that we haven't searched. And Nintendo is smart and sneaking enough to hide something. And
Yeah.
if we find it, we're going to demand Nintendo, you got to give us answers for this. We want more.
Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, like, I still have like a few other thoughts on a trilogy idea. I mean, our conversation went a bunch of different ways, obviously, but you know, I think it would be just like a really clean way of saying, look, this Breath of the Wild was so important to the Switch's launch. This second game is so important of keeping momentum, and and then the third game, just as we kind of wrap up the Switch's life cycle and move on to what's next, this is the game that this is what we want to end the Switch and make sure people know, like, this is what the Switch was known for, was this amazing Zelda trilogy, and along with a thousand other great games by that point probably, but Zelda is such an important franchise to Nintendo and Nintendo fans, and it would be nice to kind of give them a complete kind of story in the form of I think a trilogy is a nice kind of round number for people to accept as a whole. Like Mass Effect has a trilogy, Star Wars has a trilogy. All these things have trilogies, and why not? Just why not?
Yes.
Yeah, but I do think the second game is going to end very dark, and then the third game is you come out of that darkness to kind of bring the light forward. So
Yes.
So any more thoughts before we
protect us of Hyrule?
Yeah. Any more thoughts on this before we move on to the question block?
I want the game so I could put my $60 to it, and then give me another part 3 so I could buy it, put my $60 again. And everybody already knows when it gets close to a release date from Zelda, everybody's going to be playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, people are going to be hooked to be like, oh, the new one's out, and I haven't finished my replay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Celeste, any final thoughts on that?
I would love to play as Zelda. I've dreamed about that since Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Look,
that's like the big thing. I want to play as Zelda, and
if she plays as Lara Croft, and I could do the slow time jump off the horse while actually doing the bow and flipping and running on walls and magical, whatever they give Zelda, I'm all for it. Like, I would love to hit one of the enemies, like hide behind something and just hit them with a poison arrow or something, and just see all of them die.
Yeah.
Or hit them with an alcohol, hit their fire thing with a like gas thing, and it just blows up everywhere. Sneak and get the coins and then run away.
Yeah.
I want to use her magic powers. That's what I want.
Yeah. I think like in this, I think if you gave them 2 different play styles, honestly, like if Link was more of the up close kind of sword wielding brute force melee kind of character, I mean, he'd have a bow, but obviously Zelda would be more of a distance type of character with magic and the bow and maybe some other types of ranged weapon type things. Like, I think that would be really unique and interesting and actually change up the play style. So I think that'd be cool. Really cool.
I would love the blue that's used in Breath of the Wild. I would love to see that as her arrows. You know, and like her magic powers is that blue color, and so that way she don't run out of arrows. It's just kind of unlimited. And then if she goes to a blacksmith or anything, they enhance the bow to give her more magic, or if they find the book, it gives her more magic and stuff.
Like the Guardian arrows?
Yeah. So each color represents an element, and the blue is just like basic. I don't know what they would do for water though. That's so.
And not to spoil it for you, but have you ever shot a regular non-Guardian with the Guardian arrow?
No, I have not.
Oh well, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Shoot a Lionel.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
I think my jaw dropped the first time.
You'll be like, what? So, all right, we're going to get into the question block. Remember, you can email the show at nintendopalblock@gmail.com. Your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and ideas, or tweet at us at Palblock Podcast or Boss Rush Podcast with your questions. Our first question comes from Hendrix Pasternak. He says, "Hey, my favorite blockers, what is the most important video game to you, and why was it so important?" So, Celeste, I'm going to choose you first.
Okay, that was I saw that question and I thought, oh gosh, I've been playing games since I was 3, starting with a Sesame Street game. I would have to say the most important. There have been some video games over the last year that have spoken to me greatly. About a year ago, around this time, I discovered walking simulators. And around Thanksgiving last year, I played What Remains of Edith Finch. And after playing that, there is no medium that could convey that story better than a video game. And I think that particular game showcases the power of storytelling through the video game medium, allowing people to explore at their own pace, have music, have actions to complete. Just the atmosphere. I think that is an important way to show how books and movies are very important and they affect people just as deeply, but I cannot picture What Remains of Edith Finch being portrayed in any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys played that one before.
I have. No, I wasn't Remains of Edith Finch. It was the other one. You mentioned it when we were talking yesterday. I cannot think of it. I think it's the person they go through that old house.
Gone
Gone
Home.
Home.
Not go home. It's the other one.
The other one.
Firewatch?
She reads books or something, or the house is like different contraptions and it leads to different rooms. And when you get into it and you pick up something and read it, you play as that character, and they end up like passing away or something ends up happening.
Oh, that is What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
Edith.
that's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. You were on the money.
You wanna know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the Rapture one.
Oh, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
To the Rapture. That's what I was thinking of. No, What Remains of Edith Finch. Yeah, I played.
nice.
So
Ed, what about you? I'm sure
So,
that it's some sort of retro Japanese game that nobody's ever heard of, but means a lot to you. It's my guess.
so there's been many games that really meant something to me. And this is not to take away anything from what Nintendo, Sega, Microsoft, a lot of developers, it doesn't take anything away from it. But really, I think The Last Guardian is one of the most important games that meant something to me. And the reason why it was important, I always mention that Japan's Team Ecos is Sony's Nintendo. I think I write this hopefully when it come out you guys will read my companion piece. I wrote about The Last Guardian being about idea of what companionship is, and it's just like what happened to the boy for him to help Trigo save his world and everything, and just how they bond, and that the companionship they have for each other is that they're both each are finding their way unknowingly. The Trico is protecting the boy, so they could continue their journey, and the boy is keeping Trico alive by petting him, by taking the things out, and they both are working each other, and in order for them to complete this quest they both need each other, and without realizing there's no point in time that they get so mad at each other that they stop, because that is one of the tropes that you team up with somebody, they don't like each other, but over time they end up having a friendship and stuff, or it might be a twist and they still don't care about each other. And it's just like from the beginning the boy teaches Trico and Trico teaches the boy, and I don't want to ruin the ending because I think everybody really should play this game and understand that when there are games that don't use cinematics, when a game that don't have to have all these voice actors and all these theatrics and stuff, or when you can literally just take the time and just see what is going on and let the adventure tell the story. Let these two characters speak to you. If you thought God of War narrative was good, the Last Guardians narrative is better, because you're taking in on what you're seeing. You don't need, I think, and it was just something to be like seeing them both work together, laughing along with them when Trico's taking a bath and he's showering off, and the voice is like and it's just like it's so heartwarming and stuff. And it's just like I've never seen a game do this. The delays, no one really brought the game and stuff, but the delays really helped this game become what it is. The ideas that they all came together, and yes, it was a sign of relief when the game came out, but it was so important to see that, to be like, I love when a developer is taking a risk on something that the industry would never do. No one in the industry would ever have done something like this, and they took a risk to do something, and I think that's what made it really important. Like, I beat the game, put the controller down. I wanted to cry, but I stood up and I literally gave the game a standing ovation. I literally put the controller down, got up and clapped, and was just like, I this. Corey has his best of PlayStation 4 game. This is the best PlayStation 4 game of all time for me, and I don't think I love Horizon Zero Dawn, but it's not even on the level of The Last Guardian. And
I mean, it's just the way the game impacts you, right? I mean,
yeah,
I think one person's 6 is another person's 10. You know, I mean, there's games that we feel that way. Like The Last of Us, for example, is a game that we don't really. Not that it's a bad game or anything, but we just don't care for that type of game, right? It's a little too dark and kind of heavy-handed in some points, but I actually when I turned on my PlayStation 4 today to play Horizon a little bit, right? Because I just wanted to make sure everything was updated and stuff because of the PlayStation 5 reveal event. It made me want to revisit some PlayStation games, and I downloaded, because you talk so highly of it, like I was trying to figure out what games I wanted installed on my PlayStation, and The Last Guardian is on there, right? Like I downloaded The Last Guardian and Shadow of the Colossus both because I do want to play them. I do want to feel that impact that you talk so highly of,
And I know it's going to be frustrating at parts, but I'm just like,
that's every game though. All games are frustrating,
right? But having a pet in real life gets frustrating when they don't follow your commands. When they feel like, I want to do what I want to do. Only thing I'm hearing from you is calling my name. I don't have to respond to you if I don't want to. And that's kind of how pets sometimes are. And when you actually can get Trico to do what you need to do, you be like, okay, yeah, it's acting the way that I need to act. But it's just like, I love this relationship in this game, and I don't think anyone is willing to do anything like this. Like I said, no knock against Nintendo, no knock against Sega or any other developer, but I think there's no one besides Team Japan or Team Eco that could have made this game, and I'm happy that they did. Ever since they showed The Last Guardian, I wanted this game, and they surprised me with what I got. So that's my answer. Leave it at that.
Well, I mean, there's a couple games on this list for me, but I'll keep a little bit of a more recent one. Maybe it's a cop-out, maybe it's not, but Breath of the Wild is definitely a game that impacted me a lot. It's kind of been it's that game that kind of symbolizes the last kind of 5-6 years of what my life has been, regardless of podcasting or being creative or being with my family or whatever. Like it's just that game that's kind of been through all of it with me in some capacity or another, right? Like it's really the first game that kind of impacted me after I got married. It was a game that I was still playing through when I had my daughter, right? Like it's a game that, and maybe regardless of the things that hit me hard in the game, like it's a game that kind of hits more emotional notes in real life because I remember playing it when these certain events happened, and there's a lot of games that I remember playing either through good times or bad times or loss or just games that have kind of I think everybody has that game that when you experience something bad in your life and you kind of just want to escape from it. There's games like that, but Breath of the Wild was there for good times and amazing times, and I think that regardless of what I experienced playing the game, I think what happened outside of that game made that game more impactful for me. So yeah, Breath of the Wild is that game for me for sure. So all right, we're gonna move on to the next question. Samantha Cross writes in. She says, "Hey guys, first off, I loved the PlayStation stream last night and really dig the vibe Celeste gave the conversation. But the PlayStation and Xbox reveals, how will the Switch remain relevant? I know the answer, but it's an interesting discussion, I think.
we haven't answered this too many times.
I know. We do answer this question quite a bit, but Celeste might have a different answer than we usually do.
Gosh, I hadn't even thought about it. I guess because I have tunnel vision with the Switch. I enjoy Nintendo, so that I hadn't even thought about how it's going to remain relevant. Well, the Wii, for example, certainly catered to families and gathering together more and more. The Wii U tried to be what the Switch is now, and I think the Wii U, and I think the Switch has succeeded a little bit more than the Wii U. Oh gosh, to remain relevant, it's going to have to please everyone. It's going to have some more mature titles. Nintendo really needs to embrace that audience more. The GameCube did. The GameCube had some great mature titles like Eternal Darkness, the Resident Evil games. I think, what was it, like Killer 7 maybe?
Yeah, Killer 7 Capcom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were a lot of mature games. Keep the family-friendly games, keep the classics, keep the intellectual property, but they did release the Resident Evil series. I think last year they had the collector's edition and things like that. So keep doing that because there are so many adults now in our age group and older who want that.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo's doing that with Metroid Prime 4 coming soon, and obviously taking on publishing duties for Bayonetta was something that turned a lot of heads because that game, it definitely does not scream Nintendo. Just from just sheerly looking at it. So I think Nintendo has done a great job of diversifying their lineup. I think partnering with Ubisoft was smart, and you look at Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, like it's not really a kid's game. There's a lot of dirty humor in that game, I would say. I think kids, it's kind of like a Pixar movie where like kids will enjoy it because it's colorful and dumb and funny, and there's a rabbit swimming in a toilet at one point, but there's also like jokes that parents will be like, ha, it's funny. You know what I mean? Like there's those types of things, and they also like I said, Bayonetta I think is a strong mature game for them. They've gotten Doom and Wolfenstein and The Witcher on the console. Overwatch is a big multiplayer game on the console, right? Like they have these really strong third party titles that, yeah, of course you can play them other places, and theoretically they might be better there, but they're available on the system and really kind of bolster that lineup so Nintendo can focus on the family stuff or the next great Mario game or the next great Zelda game, or providing us hopefully finally with a new Metroid game. And I think Nintendo, in terms of being relevant, I don't think the Switch has to do much else than what it's doing now. I just think they have to keep on the right track and keep giving us the games and really providing the software, right? Like I think we saw that a lot last night with the PlayStation reveal where, I went from being not excited for PlayStation 5 really at all. I was like, yeah, I'll buy the console when Horizon 2 comes out. That's the game I want to play on the console. That's the game that will get me to buy the console. We saw it last night, but we also saw the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, which looked really unique and different from the last Spider-Man game, right?
We're going to talk about that on Boss Rush tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. We saw the Sackboy, pretty much Mario 3D World platformer. We saw the Astrobot thing, which comes with the console. There's a lot of diverse lineup there, and I think that got me a little bit more excited for what PlayStation has to offer. And so I think, as a pretty much a diehard Nintendo fan, I think that we kind of are a little biased towards Nintendo, but at the same time, Ed knows this. I try to look at it as realistically as I can, and I think that Nintendo, I think maybe might be vying to be your second console, and if they can do that, if they can achieve that, where I'm going to get an Xbox Series X and have a Switch, or a PlayStation 5 and a Switch, like, you're still getting the console into people's hands as their second console, and I think Nintendo succeeds that way. Along with continuing the great indie support that they've had over the years, they're getting amazing indie games. Not only they're either getting them first or they're getting them exclusively as console exclusives, and that says a lot. You know, I think a lot of people love their indies on Switch. So if you keep the lineup diverse, you keep delivering great first-party games, making great third-party partnerships and deals and stuff, I think the Switch is going to be relevant for a lot longer than people think.
So my answer is definitely Nintendo's going to continue to make software that you don't want to trade in. And that's not going to be ended up on GameStop's shelves, and that's not going to end up in someone's garage sale.
Yeah.
Because those games are always going to leave a historic imprint on them. You can say whatever you want to say about Wii and Wii U and some of those GameCube games and the N64, but if those games came out, there would be a rush of people to buy them. No one's going to be trying to look for God of War 3 4K edition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so of course Nintendo Directs and stuff, and I think what a lot of people, I think what's going to really keep Nintendo relevant is that everybody's going to be still talking about Nintendo on a consistent weekly basis. So you can say that, oh yeah, PlayStation 5 got this, and so got this game. No one's going to be talking about Hellblade 2 after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If Hellblade 2, hold on before you go, Corey. If Hellblade 2 cannot even be talked about like Animal Crossing is being talked about, that literally shows you how relevant your system and your games are.
Yeah.
Even after months that game came out, even if people got fatigued, if they picked up and played one little bit of Animal Crossing and didn't realize it's 4:00 in the morning, that lets you know how relevant that their games are. If people are still playing Mario Kart if people are still playing Mario Kart 9 or 8 Deluxe, and that game has been out for almost 3 years.
I mean, that game's technically been out for 7 years.
Well, yeah. And those games are still selling, and people are still talking about it, having tournaments, are still doing fundraisers with them, are still willing to give away copies and digital copies of it for a contest. It shows you how relevant Nintendo is still going to be. I have not seen one person offer a PlayStation 4 or a Xbox One game, even if it's old, as a contest for people to win.
Let me put it this way, just to play off what you're saying, Ed. PlayStation had a 70-minute video yesterday, full of games, full of things that people can get excited about. 3 weeks ago, Nintendo dropped a 3-minute trailer of Paper Mario, right? And accomplished the same thing, honestly, for a lot of Nintendo fans. Yeah. And I know people were excited because new hardware is coming, and everybody's always excited for new hardware. I get that. And you need to see the games that you're going to be buying on new hardware. But Nintendo dropped a 3-minute trailer for, honestly, not one of their biggest franchises, really. And people went crazy. So, yeah, Nintendo, I think, is pretty safe at the moment.
People are still, and if their collections are still worthy that people could get, that's just relevant. If Europe don't want it, their people are going to find a way to get those games imported. No one is trying to import a game from Japan or a game from Europe for Sony or Microsoft. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not trying to knock Sony or Microsoft, but Nintendo knows how to do ways of being relevant. Amiibos are still selling on this console.
Yeah, remember when Animal Crossing amiibo were like $1 and now they're like upwards of $50 and $60 right now on eBay?
Yeah. People trying to get cards for.
Oh yeah, those little cards, little mystery packs.
Yeah. And yes, Horizon sold 10 million, and that's the last time we spoke about Horizon until the new trailer came out.
Yeah, and this kind of plays. This last question actually plays into this question. Carter Anderson writes in and says, "Hey, just found your show a few weeks ago because of your giveaway, but I am now Team Powblock. My question is simple: how does Nintendo pull off a PlayStation 5 type exciting reveal? What games does it show? I mean, we already know the big games that are coming, right? With Zelda, Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4." And what was the other big one that was announced but not out yet?
Pikmin? No, not Pikmin.
No.
Super Mario?
No, it's something that's been announced. Oh, Zelda.
Shin Megami Tensei 5?
Maybe. I can't think of it right now. But also, the rumor of the 35th anniversary Mario stuff that's coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Next year is Zelda's 35th anniversary. They've got two.
Smash.
They've got two
Smash
HD
Season 2 DLC.
Yeah, Smash DLC. Pikmin probably. Also, there's two HD Zelda ports just waiting on the Wii U to come over. Just saying. Can we just put Wind Waker on a console that somebody owns, please? I'm not trying to be mean about the GameCube and the Wii U. They're two of my favorite Nintendo consoles, but they're the two least selling Nintendo consoles outside of the Virtual Boy. So can we just please give Wind Waker to people who want to play it?
And we don't even know what Koei Tecmo is doing with Nintendo. Those two are sneaking around creating something.
I mean, Koei Tecmo did do Fire Emblem Three Houses, right? I mean,
yes.
That was a big surprise to a lot of people. I mean, there's also the possibility of like a Hyrule Warriors sequel or a Fire Emblem Warriors sequel or just another franchise in general. That they
and maybe,
do.
Yeah, and maybe we got new color Joy-Cons coming.
Yeah, the Joy-Cons collectors, right? Like I got my blue set. I'm good. If I start falling down that rabbit hole, my wife would probably murder me with all of them. So
be buried under Joy-Con.
Yeah.
I think definitely getting with Microsoft and trying to get Game Pass or xCloud on Switch. That would be very big for them.
Yeah, I think
cloud saving would be amazing.
Yeah, I read this article the other day on, I think it was Nintendo Life, where it said now is a great time for Nintendo and Microsoft to get real comfortable with each other.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's a really interesting read. If you haven't read it, I would suggest you go over there. Obviously, Microsoft has been putting smaller titles on the Switch like Cuphead and Ori, which is a must-play, I think, for people who are fans of, just beautiful music and beautiful animation and great kind of Metroidvania gameplay. Like that game is so beautiful and great. Minecraft, obviously, huge hit on Switch. Minecraft Dungeons came to Switch. Microsoft's been supporting the Switch and putting Banjo in Smash because, although Banjo-Kazooie was an N64 game, Rare is now owned by Microsoft and they own Banjo, but good guy move for Microsoft there. I think if Nintendo and Microsoft continue this type of relationship, you could see something like the Master Chief Collection on Switch at some point.
You know what? I think Gears Tactics will show up on Switch more over. Well, we'll probably get Gears Pop. They probably don't care about that.
Yeah.
But if we get
no, don't give me Gears Pop. That thing just bury that game.
But if they give like. The thing about this, Nintendo fans don't care about Microsoft's bigger first party. They have no problem with it. They don't care about it being on the system. They would prefer to take the smarter stuff that's on Microsoft and play it on Switch.
I think Nintendo fans want games like, I think a Rare Replay collection would be a smart move. I think Battletoads would be a smart move. I think maybe Conquer is technically part of Rare Replay, so but you know what I mean, like those type of small things would be a great fit for Nintendo because those games have a legacy on Nintendo, right? Even though they're owned by Microsoft now, they have that legacy on Nintendo. And for older gamers, that grew up with those games, like it'd be so cool to see Banjo on Switch again. And I know like the Microsoft games make you log in with your Xbox Live account, and maybe people might feel uncomfortable creating a Microsoft account. I don't know who those people are, but yeah, I just think those moves are really smart. Like keeping like Microsoft's moves to keep Minecraft on everything and keep supporting it on all the consoles is very smart. Minecraft Dungeons, obviously, a similar thing. Cuphead on Switch was a very smart decision. You know, I think a lot of people were begging for that for a long time, and now that we got it, I think a lot of people love the fact that Microsoft is just supporting Nintendo like that, and it's cool to see. You know, I don't know if you listened to the Talking Games with Harold and Reggie episode with Phil Spencer on. Really a lot of insight into their relationship as friends and colleagues, and you can see that maybe there is still some sort of hope that Microsoft games will show up on the Switch. So yeah, I love talking Nintendo. This is so much fun.
Oh, Celeste, did you have an answer?
Yeah.
He did ask you.
Yeah.
I know this isn't, and this isn't going to answer like the specific games, but as far as like an exciting type reveal, to this day, I still think the one in 2015 with the puppets.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking. Just the games are, of course, what people want to notice, but if they can be creative with the presentation and get people hyped about the games, that would be, I don't know what else they could do. The puppets, I mean, to me, that's still my favorite one.
I know. They did so many cool things. They did that robot chicken thing. Which was funny.
That was a big E3 when they did that. Everybody was their mind.
Or like when Reggie was fighting Iwata and like the Smash Brothers thing where they were introducing the Mii characters into the game. Like that was cool. Nintendo's done a lot to reveal games.
Iwata holding the bananas and stuff.
Oh
yeah.
Rest in peace. Oh.
I know. People who listen know the story, but we were actually in New York at the Nintendo store when I found out Iwata passed away. And the next day we went back, and there was like a huge line at the Nintendo store because they had a memorial set up for him. And there was all these like people brought like Kirby plushies and bushels of bananas, and were like piling them up in the windows and outside as like a memorial to him. And they had like a guest book there that you could sign and say like, what are your favorite Nintendo memories or Iwata memories or whatever. And it was cool. I got to sign that book. It was really like a unique moment, I would say, for sure.
I bawled out in tears. I actually went out to go drink it too. I was literally in my friend's car crying because Iwata passed. I have never cried over a celebrity or any other person. I didn't know Iwata personally or anything. I literally was and I was glad I was off of work that day, but I was in tears, and I probably had some good shots and just drank it. And it was just the thing about Iwata's passing, and I know we gotta go and stuff. The thing about Iwata passing is that whole week, everybody was still talking about how impactful his words are, and
people still talk about it.
And like for me, I every time he had, it's just the day of his passing, I wish I treat it as a holiday, so I wish everybody happy Iwata Day. And I literally go out and get sushi or get some kind of Japanese food to celebrate it, and I play a Nintendo game, and like I'll write or talk about it or podcast, and I was just like, regardless of whatever you're playing in games, really thank the creators and designers and everybody who comes to make your favorite game or your least favorite game. Go ahead and thank them, because if they're gone, you don't get the chance to play their work again or enjoy their work like it would. Sometimes you'll play something and it might hit you in a different way because that person is gone. And when I think of Iwata playing a Nintendo game, I always feel like he would have been proud of what what they released. You know, so like, yeah. So just if you see like Happy Water Day to Boss Rush, and you just see me do that, I'm gonna try to take that day off and just wish people like Happy Water Day. Play your favorite game from your favorite creator, or play your favorite Nintendo game, and just be good to one another. Because if they're gone, what can you do? So,
yeah.
Sorry about that side tangent. Didn't mean to.
No, that was so sweet.
That's what this show is built on, Ed. Tangents.
That is true.
Yeah. This is wow. That was, I kind of got like wrapped up in the emotional storytelling. I just gotta wrap the show now. I want to thank everybody for watching and/or listening. Remember, you can find the show live every Thursday on Mixer and Twitch at Boss Rush Games Live, or you can go to bossrushgames.com/subscribe. Our feed is right there. You can watch us live there as well. You can subscribe to our YouTube page, youtube.com/bossrushgames. You can download the show every Saturday morning on your podcast service of choice. Please rate and review, subscribe, share, click the bell, all the words that the kids use to make sure that you get notified when we are live. Celeste, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun.
Not only on this episode, but last night, and future episodes for the foreseeable future. I'm so glad that you decided to join us here and be a part of this. And you have a great, unique look on the world of Nintendo, and I'm glad that we get to share it with you.
So. Same with you guys. Y'all have taught me so much and helped me think so differently about many topics, especially a Zelda trilogy. That blew my mind.
Yeah, it's in my mind palace now.
That's why it's going to be so hard playing that game, to be like, yes, I know we had expectations, but whether it meets it or not, I want to see where they go, and I'm ready to give it I'll probably give it a perfect 10 just because it's Zelda.
But Celeste, why don't you remind everybody where they can find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FairyCrypt, FAERIECRYPT. And you can also follow Another Zelda Podcast at Another Zelda Pod on Twitter and Another Zelda Podcast on Instagram. So I hope to see you there.
Nice. I already followed, so I'm there.
Me too.
Ed, Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatBretcherCode, and you can check out Option Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps, and check out World 11 Podcast on Podbean. You can find me on Mixer at The Lyrical One and Twitch at Ocomico. And if you guys want my Switch code, just go to at ThatBretcherCode. I'll have my number up there. You guys could connect with me. Let's play some Streets of Rage 4 or other Nintendo games. Let's have some fun on Nintendo and other platforms if you prefer.
Yeah. You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Corey in HD on Twitch and Mixer. You can also find me on a plethora of other content here on Boss Rush Games. Please like, subscribe, share, rate, and review, and check out all of our content on bossrushgames.com. Remember, we are here to play games and be better. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next week, we love you.
Bye, everybody. Woo-hoo!